You are now listening to the NYYST podcast.
Welcome back. This is episode 191 of the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian, and now I got to amend my beginning because it's not as always. It's whenever my tummy doesn't hurt. You're not Stack Guy, right? Chris.
I don't even know what I said. Yo.
and Stack Guy, Rye.
What up? I pulled a Christian last week. I didn't listen to your guys' show.
Yeah,
because I wasn't on it. So
it was a good show.
That's also
because you weren't on it.
We were gonna make fun of you. Your ego couldn't handle that.
Right.
I listened to the beginning just to hear what you guys would say.
We weren't mean.
Oh, my tummy hurts.
No, I was hungover as fuck. I'll tell you that. I don't even. I came home the night before. My hand was bloody. I think I punched a concrete wall because I was excited. I won beer pong. And I couldn't do it. I didn't want to bring down the show.
Well, why didn't you stay home today?
Oh, funny dick.
So why don't you leave us a 5-star rating review on iTunes? Open that app up and just drop us a line whether or not you want Chris to go on the 60-day DL for the rest of the season. Here.
No, that's fucked up because now that's it. Then I'll be off the show. I'll just produce. That's fine.
It's the injured list.
You could do like Al Dukes does on Boone and Geo, just like chime in when we want you to.
Speaking of being drunk, the last time me and you were together and were a little tipsy, weren't you telling me about a product that you wanted me to purchase? Because when you're drunk, we're actually friends, and you care about my bowls, and you care about my well-being. What'd you tell me about?
Huh?
What did you were telling me about something?
You got to clean up, bro. That's not just for you. That's for other people as well.
Okay.
So ironically, 2-3 weeks ago, Christian's telling me to purchase the Manscaped kit.
Yeah.
At the what was it, 4th of July party? Jesus Christ. And I'm sitting there, and let me tell you something. I thought he was part of the company because he sold me on it. And ironically enough, they reached out to us, and we're hoping for a long-term partnership with Manscaped. They're sending us a bunch of stuff before we start dropping, their ad copy and all that stuff throughout the show. They are sending us stuff because they want us to groom the bulls and actually use the product before we talk about
already,
it.
By the way,
but our code is live. I do too, but I gotta be honest.
What's the code?
It's NYYST. If you go to manscaped.com, use promo code NYYST, you get 20% off your order plus free shipping right now on the entire thing. But I got to be honest with you.
I'm going to up the ante on this.
Let me hear it.
Okay.
If you use our code NYYST on Manscaped and send us a direct message on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk with a screenshot with the receipt of your order that you used our code, you will get a free T-shirt of your choice from our website.
Absolutely. Was going to say that also. I love that. I agree with it. I'm down with it. But I got to say, I'm someone who I have ball shaving anxiety. Like, I'm scared that my hand's going to slip because it's slipped before.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited to try this product all around. My wife's excited. I'm excited.
All right, so before we're officially in a long-term relationship with Manscaped, I will tell you this, that you have to be a real idiot in order to hurt yourself using this product.
Yes. Yeah.
You can basically
That's what I've heard.
go in there. You can basically go in there, the drunkest you have ever been in your life, and still come away unscathed.
Wow. That says a lot. And they got other stuff, too, besides, like, the... Besides
they call it the crop preserver. It's basically ball cream. Shit is top notch. So if you don't want to go out and spend $60 on a razor, hey, the crop preservers are what, $9.99? With our code, you get it for $8 shipped to your house for free. It's worth trying out. You help out the fellows here at NYYST. Everybody wins.
And this product, the cropped, what's it called? The crop duster?
preserver.
Crop preserver. This is just like a cream or a spray. You use it instead of baby powder?
C.
And it smells good?
C.
Wow.
What was this,
It
Ryan?
smells
What was
good.
this?
I was just spraying. I was shaking the bottle, spraying.
Tiny.
Well, Tyler Wade hit a home run today, so when you're
True.
making that motion, bro, we just gotta check in on you.
Yeah,
That's
bro,
it.
I felt good today.
So yeah, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Head to manscaped.com. Use promo code NYYST and screenshot us that, and we'll give you any shirt off our fan shop for free. Boom. Done. Can't
good to
beat
me.
that. Can't beat that.
Oh, it's a 2-for-1.
Exactly. Who can beat free? Nobody can beat free.
No one.
Nobody.
Who can beat the Yankees? It seemed like everybody could beat the Yankees coming into the last couple of days here, because the Yankees were on a before Dellin Betances decided to gift wrap a win for his old ball club, which landed him on the IL, by the way. So
Yeah. A lot of pitchers going down, man, throughout the league.
well, we Ryan had the quote from James Paxton last week. He blamed it on the short summer camp ramp up after these guys came back from the COVID, break.
Damn, that sucks. So Dellin's last series as a Yankee at Yankee Stadium, he tears his Achilles, lands on the IL, and then
No, that was actually
That was at Seattle.
it
Toronto.
was away. It was away.
Yeah.
Okay, my fault. Take it back.
But we get it.
Yeah,
We
now
get
he's-
the connection.
Yeah, it's still a Yankee connect.
How many games is Dellin?
Technically, the Mets were.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they were away.
Were
They were away that game.
Good for Dellin, man. He's won the Yankees a lot of games in his career, and he won them another one on Saturday. So
Yeah. Fuck.
thank you, Dellin.
Thank you.
So, we were hitting hard times here. The Yankees, they didn't play last weekend because the Mets had COVID, right?
Yes.
The Mets had a little COVID outbreak, so
Little
the Subway Series last weekend was canceled. And then they had a scheduled off day Monday. Then Tuesday was raining in Atlanta. So then we had a doubleheader in Atlanta on Wednesday with a day off on Thursday. So there was a lot of off time for the New York Yankees. This was coming off a sweep at the hands of the Rays. Then they got swept by the Braves. And then they lost. Then they got swept by the Mets, 7-game losing streak. I mean, if you're on Yankee Twitter, if you follow the show and how we've chronicled the madness that is Yankee Twitter, I'm sure you can imagine how bad the fans were this past week. So, that means 7-game losing streak, people got to go. And at the top of that list was the manager, Aaron Boone. So I think we should open the show with discussing Boone's 2020 performance and maybe his prospects heading into 2021. I have not been able to find any contract information on him. This is his third year. I have not heard that he's a lame duck manager, so I'm assuming he has a deal for next season.
Yeah. I believe he does. I think through next season. Right? I believe it was through 2021.
Yeah, and usually that type of stuff comes
It's,
out unless I just
apparently a team option for 2021,
There you go. I mean,
according to Empire
okay.
Sports.
So we have to ask the question. I think this is the ultimate question at this point. The Yankees are what, 19-13 now?
Yes.
They were on the brink of being 17-14, and they come back miraculously today. And now we have to still ask the question: is Aaron Boone still the guy? And I think it's irrational to think otherwise right now. I think this guy has been phenomenal since he got here. But I will question a little bit outside of today because he started to push the right buttons. His players were performing that were supposed to perform and come through. Not even just his performance during games. He's been off a little this year. I'll give the fans that. And I think we all agree on that. He doesn't seem as enthusiastic. I know it's a weird year. I know things aren't the same, but he definitely seems a little off to me. But it's not to the level where I can start questioning myself, like, is he still the guy? Of course. I mean, how could you not think that?
Well, coming into today's game, the offense has been anemic. There's no other way to say it. They scored some runs today, thanks to the Mets, basically. But the problem is that this team is so hurt this year. And is it worse than last year? I don't really know. I mean, you can look at it. It's probably about the same on paper, but you kind of had the feeling that this next man up thing, where everybody that they plucked and put into the lineup, it wasn't going to work out again this year. It just wasn't. You couldn't get lucky 2 years in a row on that.
Well, can I say one thing on that? When you talk about the next man up mentality, that's not just a guy by guy thing. That's a team culture thing. That's a winning culture. No one's going to beat us type mentality. And where does that stem from? It stems from chemistry. It stems from what these guys are used to doing and bonding and picking each other up. They don't have that this year. With this COVID shit going on, they can't do the same things off the field as they did last year. The enthusiasm around baseball for most teams right now is not going to be the same as it was last year. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. But if you really break it down, it's reasonable, outside of the fact that last year was insane what they did. It's reasonable to assume that they're not going to be able to reproduce that with all these injuries in a COVID-stricken season.
Yeah, I guess that could be a good point. There's also another point that I need to make, is that you actually owe somebody an apology for calling him a trash bag or a trash can.
Who?
Or a dumpster.
Who? I call a lot of people that.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically you owe him a public apology on this show for calling him a trash can.
Who?
Who do you call that?
You know, the person in my life who triggers you the most.
Your cousin.
Yeah.
Garbage human being.
He was the first person and rushed to his tablet to place an order on Manscaped when I told him about this. So you owe him an apology.
Okay, I love you. You're not garbage. Your cousin's garbage. I never called him that on this show. I don't disrespect him. He's got a great fucking beard, man.
He had to shave because of Corona.
Oh, come on. Fuck.
So anyway, yeah. So he wants it written down on a piece of paper.
That's not a problem. Camera. I'll do it. Place another order. I'll do a whole public apology on social media.
So anyway, back on track here. You just knew that this whole next man up thing, that it was cute last year. You didn't want to deal with it again this year, and you knew you had to. It wasn't going to be the same thing. I mean, you had Gio Urshela step in, be a borderline all-star type player. Mike Tauchman, who came out of fucking nowhere, became a guy that could, realistically start on a major league club after you never even heard of him before. Who else? Just a litany of guys that came in there. Mike Ford, who is back to being a complete and utter bum. I'm sorry to say,
he still comes up in big spots, though. He does.
No, he comes up in big spots, and then he takes a fucking turn back to the dugout. That's what he does.
That's just false. He came through again today.
What did he do?
What do you mean in the first game? He had a big hit.
Okay. So what was he hitting 111 this year?
Yeah, I mean, half the guys in this lineup right now are hitting under 200.
I get it, but Mike Ford was part of the next man up last year, and he's back to being a guy who doesn't belong. Honestly, he doesn't belong in the major leagues. I'm sorry, he doesn't.
He's in 176.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you guys...
I guess I can't say anything because Gary Sanchez is hitting like 130, so I guess I can't say anything about Ford hitting 176.
Well, you guys were the ones who were contemplating, is Ford the starter over Luke Voit?
No,
at the beginning of the year.
It was never Ford over Voit. It was more LeMahieu over Voit playing first, if anything.
I mean, same difference, really.
Yeah.
Same
difference.
Voit, I mean, DJ LeMahieu and Mike Ford is the same thing. Okay.
I love it though. At least when I'm wrong about things, I admit it. I come out and I say you're absolutely right. I was wrong and whatever. You guys constantly throughout this show have always said, "No, I'm still not sold on Voit." And I said he's a good baseball player.
Yeah, no, I could say that. I wasn't sold on Voit.
He's a good hitter today in game 2. He showed you why he's not a great.
No, you're right.
Player.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wanted to bring that up too because you've always got on him. I always thought a little too harsh on his defense, but today proved. I mean, you got to make that fucking play, especially when you got a young kid making his debut and pitching fucking lights out. You have to make that play. It's not even a tough play. He does make some great plays, but you got to make that play today.
He ended up getting a double play to end that inning, right? Or was that the inning before?
That inning. He gave up the run, but then he got the double play. Anyway, how did we get off topic of Boone so much?
Because we were talking about next man up,
Right,
and then
right.
somehow, we gotta, because you got your man meet for Luke Voigt, just like he's got his for Tyler Wade,
Right.
So,
And let me just ask you this: I think this is fair. If last year I praised Boone for the next man up mentality, because I think a manager, one of his biggest roles is to bring the best out of his players, and I think he did that remarkably last year. Do I have to fault him for that not really happening this season?
And this is what I was trying to bring up, is that people were on social media saying, "Oh, Boone's got to fire up the team." What exactly do you want Aaron Boone to do right now? His big thing is he'll go out there and he'll rip into an umpire, spark the team that way, show a little, histrionics on the field. He's not allowed to do that right now. You cannot go out there and argue with an umpire. That's against the COVID protocols.
Yeah, and I mean, that just goes back to what I brought up before. I mean, things are so much different. You got to get creative, I guess, but I don't blame
And
these.
then what's the other thing? He's going to rip his players in the media, or hold a closed door meeting where he's just going to tell everybody how much they suck.
Well, we got some people who don't mind ripping their players in the media, but we'll get to that too.
But that's not Aaron Boone's way. And honestly, we've said this before. That's not why he's here, because Joe Girardi took Gary Sanchez to task in the media, and that didn't sit well with Brian Cashman. And it's part of the reason why Joe Girardi wasn't retained in 2018. The Yankees can say otherwise, but I think we all know it to be true. He didn't like how he took on Gary in the media.
Oh yeah, Gary's feelings were hurt.
Yeah, well, anyway, so I'll say this. I don't think Boone's had the strongest year. So this throughout the first 32 games.
Mm-hmm.
How many games they played?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I also think a lot of it has to do with the injuries and his players not performing. If you look at the 7-game losing streak, how many times did he have a lead that he turned over to one of his high leverage relievers?
Sure.
They didn't win.
That's why they're here. I mean, that's why they're here. You make that move because I always think of it like this, right? A manager, because everyone nowadays is all about the outcome. It's never about what leads up to the outcome. So it's all about the outcome. In any situation, if you're going to get beat, you have to get beat by making the move to bring in your best player at that time. So, like today, for instance, right? If Boone brings in Sanchez, which is 100% the right move, I love Eric Kratz. I think he's doing a great job. I love the clubhouse guy mentality he's got going on. I think he's a good leader. But Gary Sanchez is the guy you lose with in that situation. And if he strikes out, Boone gets fucking ripped to a point where people are demanding he's fired. But guess what? Gary comes through. And he pushed the right button. But at that point, if he brings Kratz up and Kratz strikes out, then Yankee fans have a field day too.
Well, we know how this game works, and I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this earlier. Oh, one of the things, I said, what do you want? Because basically the point of my tweet was, what do you want Aaron Boone to do right now? Mm-hmm. This is when they were losing 7-2, and it looked like they weren't going to win game one. I said, what do you want this guy to do right now? And then, first thing, one of the first things I get is, well, don't take out J Happ when he's rolling. First of all, let me explain something to everybody. J Happ pitching 7 1/3 scoreless innings. I don't care if it was against the bad news fucking Bears. Is a miracle. A miracle.
Shouldn't happen.
And you take it and you say thank you.
Thank you.
I was shocked that the Yankees even pushed them that far, that they let him see the daylight of the 8th inning. I'm shocked. And we'll talk more about this in a little bit. But he goes to Adam Ottavino. What happens? Ramos bangs one off the foul pole. Boone, you're an idiot. You suck. You should have left Happ in. Okay.
Meanwhile, right? A week ago, they want Happ fucking sent down because people just don't understand how the game of baseball works.
But Boone doesn't know how to manage his bullpen. You're in the 8th inning with a lead. Adam Ottavino is one of your top 2 or 3 relievers. Isn't that the point of the game, is to get to that point and get one of your top guys in there?
Especially when you got bullpen guys that are hurt.
All right, so he got to that point. He got into
Right.
the 8th inning with a lead, went to Adam Ottavino. Adam Ottavino didn't do his job.
Right.
At some point, you can't say the manager didn't make the right move. You have to say these guys aren't performing at the level that they're supposed to. Chad Green, how many games did he blow this week? 2? Right? It was 2.
Yes.
He did one in the one in the Braves series, and then I think in one of the double headers he gave up a big home run.
You ever play Jenga?
Yes.
Every pitch that Happ throws is a pulled Jenga block.
Yeah.
And he went one more in the 8th inning, and he pulled it, and the fucking tower wobbled a little, and he went, you know what? I'm done.
The tower was wobbling.
The tower wobbles every day, every time Happ's out there, and he pulled one more, and he goes, I'm not going to press my luck here. He gave us a great performance. He needs to build his confidence back up. I got to go to my best guy out of the pen.
Boone must have thought he was on peyote or something, that he got into the 6th inning without that Jenga tower even moving once.
Yeah, I mean, he pitched a great game. This is where fans become irrational.
But then, right, exactly, right? So if Boone doesn't take out Happ and Happ stays in the game and Ramos hits the home run off of Happ, then Boone still doesn't know how to manage his bullpen, because then now he left Happ in the batter too long. So I know how that game works. I've seen it. We've been doing this show since 2017. We've been on social media this is our 4th season doing this. I know how this game works. I know how this plays out. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If he doesn't take out Happ blows the lead. Boone's a fucking moron for not going to his bullpen. He takes out Happ, the Ottavino gives up the lead. Boone's a fucking moron for taking Happ out of the game. So you can't win. You can't win in that situation, and that's why it's hard for me to take anything seriously that you see on social media when it comes to shit like that.
If anything, I think Boone deserves some credit for how he's managed the last few games, because look at the decision he made to leave Kratz in that game yesterday. Right? That pays off. Betances wild pitch, game over. He goes to Sanchez today. That pays off. So you're only as good as your last few games. Yankees are on a 3-game winning streak, but we are at past the halfway point now after today with 32 games played. You can critique and judge all you want, but Yankees took 3 good games in a row here after a disappointing 7.
I gotta say something real quick about that. Leaving Kratz in and trying to put down the bunt. I don't know if you guys listened on the radio to the pregame today, but Susan had Kratz on, and she goes, Eric, I gotta ask you, are you comfortable bunting? Do you know how to bunt? And his answer was one of my favorites ever. He goes, he's like, Susan, when you're a 205 career hitter, you better know how to bunt.
That's good. We got to give some credit here to Eric Kratz. I think
great.
He's been a good presence.
Oh yeah,
the way he's handled these pitchers in the dugout, I love seeing that kind of stuff, dude. He's hugging these guys and stuff like that.
You cannot get that worked up over a backup catcher. You can't. But if they designate him for fucking Kyle Higashioka, I'm going to throw something at the wall.
They can't. He's a leader. He's a leader.
It'll be Heller.
He's a leader. You see him bringing guys up.
They don't.
Oh no, they don't have to, because he's on the 40, so it's not like they have to do any.
Can Kyle go? Ryan, can you check that? His option. Can he go back down to the minor leagues? Can he go to the ultimate site?
I think he still has options.
Because if he doesn't, then he can get designated. I don't really care. Yeah. I don't need to see Kyle Higashioka on his team anymore.
He's very expendable. I mean, I like Higgy too, but what Kratz has done. Did you hear what he said too? What the mic picked up on before the game today?
Yeah, what Davey Garcia said. I can't wait to go play catch with my son.
Yeah. Davey Garcia, young and
that's what he
tiny.
Said today? That's what Kratz said?
Young and tiny. He's only 5'9".
Yeah, so, I mean, we're going to get into some of Boone's other moves, specifically the Tanaka one when we recap the weekend a little bit. But has the first 32 games of this season, has it changed your opinion on whether or not Aaron Boone should come back and manage this team in 2021?
I mean, I think it hasn't wavered one way or the other. I'll say this, and I'll say this again. He seems a little weird this year. He seems off. He doesn't seem like he has that same Boone swag that gives us a Booner every time he is in front of the camera and talking. He doesn't have that this year. His head's down a lot. He's not looking into the camera. He's not talking to us. He's not confident. He doesn't seem that happy. Something seems off with him. I'll say that. But I don't think one way or the other I've said, you know, he's frustrated me a couple times, but he did that last year too. And you texted this the other day. I don't know if this is going to be your next point of where the Yankees were last year compared to this year. So people are freaking out.
Yeah, they were 17-13 through 30 last year. They won 103, and they're 17-13, or they were 17-13 through 30 games this year.
And then here's what I talk about here's what I mean when I say people just care about results. Their excuse back is, but this is a short year. Yes, I know it's a short year, and it sucks that they were ahead and they lost all those games in a row. But stop prorating this fucking record.
I was just gonna say that,
please.
Dude, I absolutely. There's few people that cover the game that I respect more than Jack Curry, if anyone. But I had to tweet it out last night. You got to stop what the Yankees are on a 19 game, or after Friday. It was after Friday's games. You got to stop what the Yankees are on a 19 game losing streak. No, they're on they were on a 7 game losing streak.
Right, because
it doesn't matter if they're playing 60 games
right.
Or 162 games. They're on a 7 game losing streak.
Look,
you can't give me this. Every game counts as 2.7. Then why aren't they adding it that way in the standings?
This is the problem, right? When you say, let's say, through the first 10 games of the season, Aaron Judge in a regular 162 game season. Through the first 10 games, Aaron Judge has 10 home runs. You can say he is on pace to hit 162 home runs, right? That you can prorate to find out a rate of what you're performing. You can't do that this year just because you're only playing 60 games as opposed to 162 because you're not playing 162. All you're doing is making a stupid comparison. When the season is over and they have a final record, you can then say the Yankees were on pace to win X amount of games if they were to play a 162 game season. But you can't say things like they're technically on a 20 game losing streak right now. And I get it. I get the comparison. It's the impact of what's happening, but it just kind of blows things out of proportion because it's not that way. Everyone's playing 60 games right now. Mm-hmm. Everyone. It's not just them.
It's just not true, though, to go out there and say, well, the Yankees are on a 19-game losing streak. No, they're not. It's 7. It was 7. Yeah. Now they're on a 3-game winning streak. Does that mean, what is it, Ryan, 2.7?
Yeah.
Let me bust that out.
Yeah,
here.
You do that. Kyle Higashioka out of option.
7 games.
When
6
he's
point
healthy,
games.
when Higashioka's healthy, they're going to have to make a decision.
So the Yankees are really on an 8-game winning streak, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works now?
Yeah. Absolutely. 8-game winning streak for the Yanks.
I woke up the dog. He was sleeping.
So he's out of options.
Out of options. What I just read.
I don't...
DFA.
Well, they just have to clear him, but I think he'd get picked up. The Rays would probably snag him or some shit.
Bye, Higgy. Chris, do you have a little audio? Since we're talking about catchers here, actually, Ryan, you know what? What's your point on Boone here? Do you have one?
I'm not gonna judge his performance. I mean, the only way that this regular season can be judged is if they don't make the playoffs somehow. Then you'd have to consider maybe making a decision.
Right, a rational decision.
We're not there yet, but we are at the halfway point. So I do think it's up for discussion. It isn't a typical regular halfway point, but we are there. So
okay,
it's worth looking into.
I think this is the best way to critique the manager at this point in time. If the players who are supposed to perform on this team have performed, especially speaking of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Would the Yankees have lost that many games?
No.
Come on.
And also, if the players that were, if they were healthy, would they have lost some of these games? And the answer is no. Because you'd have Tommy Kahnle, you'd have Zach Britton, and they didn't have those options. You didn't have Chapman earlier in the year.
You can't get mad at the manager, especially when the team's hurt, for going to the guys he's supposed to go to just because the guy he's supposed to go to doesn't perform and do his job.
Now, regardless of this, though, you guys still feel that this team should make the postseason.
They better,
So
or everyone should
Right,
go.
right, yeah. So like at that point, then it's worth.
I mean, everyone
looking into.
Everyone should be gone.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make 2 final points on Boone here because we ran a little long on this segment, and we got a lot of other stuff to get
Very
to.
long.
As you said there, everybody's got to go if they don't make the postseason. I was very adamant about that coming into this season, that if the Yankees don't at least make it to the World Series, that we need changes here. It's just so hard to judge this season right now. That will you make a rash decision like that of getting rid of your manager, or even going further up the ladder, getting rid of your general manager based on this COVID season?
Well, no, because of the option, right? Because you have that option in Boone. It's a team option.
Yeah.
It's a team option. So you're going to take that option because it's a weird year. You're going to give him one last shot. But I think then it's either you make it or you don't, or you're gone.
You know, and the GM role's tough to really judge too, because it's not like they could really make that big move to sway the team. It's tough to make a deadline deal.
Well, you know, Clevenger's on the block and he's close to going somewhere. So if
it's got to happen
if he goes and the Yankees don't pick somebody up, you know, Twitter's going to be a shitstorm for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
The 31st is the trade deadline, right? August 31st.
Tomorrow,
Yeah,
which
tomorrow.
is when you listen to this, it'll be the day that you listen to this.
Is it still 4 p.m. Eastern?
See if there's anything going on right now.
So, and the other thing that I was going to say is that you were saying that Boone doesn't seem like that same guy. And I don't know, right or wrong, you could tell us if we are, but we're not going to get into a big discussion over what's going on in the outside world. We brought up racism on this show before. We've obviously talked about coronavirus on the show before, but I think maybe right now we need to be a little bit of escapism and just stick to baseball. But you say that Boone's not the same guy. You see how things are affecting him right now as being the father of 2, I believe he adopted Haitian children. So this civil unrest is obviously affecting him. So that could be playing into a factor. You don't ever see the guy's face anymore because he's always got the gator up. So you don't know what his emotions are, obviously, right? And then third, you know, like we said, he can't go out there and get in somebody's face. He can't go out there and rip an umpire and give us a new Savage's rant because he's not allowed to do that. He's not going to – normally if you do that, what, would you get popped for a game maybe? The penalties are way more severe for doing it this year.
Well, you got to prorate everything.
You know, I'm sure that he's not going to want to be suspended for a week or whatever it's going to be, you know? So those are all factors. Those are all things that could be going into maybe Boone not having the greatest of seasons right now. So,
okay, you ready for a little audio?
Yeah, so as actually ESPN's actually doing the bottom line right now, and this is actually coming up. So this is a perfect time to segue into this.
And hit high in the air to deep left center. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a grand slam. Oh, the Sanchino. He hits a grand slam to left center. Oh, that Gary is scary. His biggest hit of the year, a grand slam in the 8th inning, and the Yankees take a 5-1 lead.
And that Yankee dugout just erupted. You could hear that up here. It was like there were 20,000 fans in here. And Gary finally smiling once he got back to the dugout. He needed that hit very much. And Eric Kratz, the first one to hug him and give him a big high fist bump.
I left the Susan audio in because for 2 reasons. One, the dugout, I heard it was going insane when he hit it. And 2,
Big high fist bump.
the big high fist bump. And 2, who's at the top of the dugout again?
Kratz.
Eric Kratz, leader. You can't set him down. Can't
Can
get
I
rid
say
of him.
something? I actually seen more than one tweet saying that the Yankees should fire Boone and replace him with Eric Kratz.
Oh boy,
He was showing a little manager tendencies though.
Okay, here's the problem with society. People will say one thing, right? And it's a little rational, and you're like, okay, Eric Kratz, great backup guy right now, good leader. And then that somehow evolves when you're starting to finally agree all together. Yes, that evolves into he should be a player manager, fire Boone. And then it just becomes this whole divide. And it's like, fuck you, you moron.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So Gary Sanchez, obviously, Ryan, can you give me his updated stats, please, with including the grand slam?
He is now batting 103.
I think
with
it's a tad bit higher
with
than
4 RBIs and 1 home run. Because that's the only home run I care about right now.
He's now hitting 134.
that. Sexy.
Yeah, it's real good. 134.
He's got 11 hits, 14 ribbies, 6 home runs.
The power numbers aren't terrible. I mean, you want, like you said, Chris, you want to prorate that. That'll probably be another 30 home run season, right?
Probably.
His on base,
So,
253.
how many games has he played?
He's played in 27 games this year.
Okay.
So 6 times he played
I'll
at
do
106 last year. If he was on the same pace,
No, that's not how to do it. I'll do it.
I'm just giving a rough estimate that's probably that's at least a 25 home run season if he based on the 106 that he played last year.
Yeah, I mean the 253 OBP not great, but hey, grand slam today. I'll take that.
All right, so basically what I wanted to bring up here about Gary Sanchez is, and this was before he hit the grand slam, we decided we were going to put this in the show, is are you pulling the plug on Gary Sanchez?
He's on pace for 29 home runs right now.
Okay.
If this were a full 162 game season, he'd be on pace for
He'd
29.
be on pace for 29 home runs.
So here's the point, though. He's still hitting 134. His on base is 250, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Is this it? Is Gary Sanchez's time in the Bronx over?
I'll say this. I'm not going to defend Gary by any means. He has been fucking abysmal. I mean, terrible, awful. And I think that the argument of what he's done in the past only goes so far, right? That only goes so far to say, you got to give this guy some time. He's proven himself, yes. But that time runs out eventually. And in a shortened season like this, you probably give him the whole year. But if he doesn't turn something around, and you hope this was the spark that he needed, if he ends the season batting 140 or 150, and he doesn't, and he's only producing power-wise sporadically, and isn't coming through in the big spots, I don't know if you make the rash decision next year, but you know that you have a lot of young guys that you drafted that you want to mold into being your catcher, and you start looking at the future of moving Gary Sanchez for someone.
No, you don't. You make that decision in 2022 when he's a free agent. That's when you make that decision.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying 2021, after this year, you can start thinking about that because you might want to trade him for someone at the deadline if he's not gonna produce.
Here's the home run leaderboard for catchers. 1 is JT Realmuto with 9. Second, Gary Sanchez with 6.
Yep.
That's home runs, which is
there
that,
an RBI leaderboard?
Yeah, I'll click that one next. RBIs, it's pulling up now. First is Realmuto, 25. Sanchez is a bit down, but he's tied for 6th with 14. So he's a top 6. 4th is Darno with 18.
Yeah, but this is the issue. This is the thing with Gary, is that every time you want to rip him, you look at the home run leaderboard amongst catchers, and he's there.
Yeah, and I mean that's a piece that you need. You know,
this is the problem, is that everybody wants to get rid of Gary says, oh, why do the Yankees keep giving him chance after chance? Do you not recognize the power that this guy has? The power that he has as a catcher is special.
And also, if you think if you had to pick one position in baseball offensively that's kind of it doesn't have the depth compared to other positions, wouldn't it be catcher? By a landslide, maybe. I wouldn't even say shortstop at this point. You got some big name shortstops in the league today, but catcher, outside of Gary Sanchez and JT, I'm not even going to try to say his last name again.
Realmuto.
I mean, who is there? I mean, you got Yadier, but are we going to get Yadier right now? The guy's on his way out.
Isn't he like 50? He might be older than Kratz.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, come on, guys. Look, I'm not saying the frustration is irrational. The frustration itself is more than warranted at this point.
Again, because we're at the halfway point, too, of the season.
Yes.
So you got that. Keep that in
And
mind.
we said going into the season, what's the most important thing for Gary to do? Stay healthy. And he Knockwood has been the one guy who has stayed healthy, yet he hasn't produced up until today.
I got a question. That's what I was thinking about. I got a question how healthy he might actually be, because he was tearing the cover off the ball until he got hurt last year, and then he was a different player.
Yeah, he was big time.
I'll tell you, the theme of today's game for the broadcasters with Sanchez was that meatball stat. And that home run tonight in that second game, that wasn't a meatball. That was a 97-mile-per-hour fastball up in the zone, and he belted it.
You know what Gary did, though?
He missed two meatballs in that at-bat. So, I mean, if Gary misses one, you don't anticipate him doing anything in the at-bat. He missed two, and he still demolished it.
Gary actually became a hitter in that at-bat. Yeah. He knew what was coming.
Right.
He knew that this guy needed to throw him a fastball, and he knew it was going to be good, and he was going to say, fuck it. Gary Sanchez has a 130 batting average right now, and if he's going to beat me, it's going to be with my best pitch at this point.
He did.
And he fucking annihilated it. He annihilated
here's the point. Here's what the rationale I want to get to with the fan base that I think it's overwhelmingly hates Gary Sanchez, right? I think it's fair, and I think it's a very small percentage of people that will even rationally discuss him. I'm still a Gary Sanchez guy. I'm probably going to be one no matter how bad he is until at least the All-Star break of 2021. Because, again, the same thing with Boone. I got to give the same thing to Gary here is how can I accurately judge a guy on this season? I understand you got guys like DJ LeMahieu that are hitting around 400, right? And he coming with an IL stint and going through all the COVID shit, and he had COVID himself, DJ. So but Gary Sanchez is a very streaky hitter. We've seen that, and all the starts and stops in this season. How has he been able to get into a rhythm where he can go on one of these streaks and these tears where he can carry a team for 3 weeks?
It's not an excuse, but for him, it's an excuse for you as the person analyzing him because you can't accurately do so. And I think that's a fair point.
That's why I can't make a lot of rash decisions about guys this season. I can't do it. That's why I say I got to see if Gary's going to continue to struggle and be a 130 hitter and hit a big, get a big hit once every 20 games or whatever it might be. I got to give him at least the first half of next year. I have to. I think it's only fair at this point because, again, why did the Yankees keep giving Gary Sanchez opportunity after opportunity? So easy to say, right? You saw the ball go 450 feet today, didn't you? Right?
Yeah.
Who's the second fastest player ever in Major League Baseball to 100 home runs?
I don't know.
Sanchez.
No, he's the first.
No,
he
Ryan
was.
Howard is.
Oh, no. Okay.
So when you're a decision maker and you're a Yankees, you're saying to yourself, that guy has still got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
And who am I bringing in? Who am I bringing in that's going to be better than Gary Sanchez?
That's the biggest question.
There's not a lot out there.
I don't know, Ryan, maybe you and I talked about this last week, but I definitely tweeted about it during the week here. The only way I'm cool with Gary Sanchez not being a Yankee in 2021 is if you go out there and sign JT Realmuto. And what is that contract going to be looking like? Over $100 million, easy.
100%.
And who's going to be more important to the Yankees next year, JT Realmuto or fucking DJ LeMahieu? Because I'm going to guarantee you with the Yankees having two open rotation spots with Paxton and Tanaka being free agents and them likely having to go out there and spend big money on a pitcher, they're not going to go out there and throw massive money at DJ and Realmuto. When Gary Sanchez is making $5 million this year, is under team control until 2022, and he's going to get a modest raise just because of service time in arbitration. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to get rid of the guy just because you fucking hate him.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? We always put out the poll. You always do the poll on the main NYYST account on Twitter. This is, to me, you do the player of the game, right? Hands down should have been Garcia. The fans voted right. But if any other person hit that grand slam to end the game, because we always talk about recency bias, the poll would have been close. Like if it was DJ who hit the grand slam, that poll would have been close. Who's the player of the game, DJ or Garcia? I voted Garcia just to see. 75% when I checked. Like it wasn't. It didn't
70% right now, and then Ryan must have 3 burner accounts because Wade has a couple of votes.
Yeah,
I threw him in there for the home run. I always usually like to put 4 on there. Usually, if somebody has a really good pitching performance, and then whoever drives in some runs, Obviously, I could not get to 4 with the game on
Did you
Saturday.
put Betances in the game?
I thought about being a smart ass about it. I really did, but then I left it off.
But like, if do you agree? If it was any other person who ended the game that way, in the top of the whatever it was 8th inning with a grand slam, the poll would have been much closer. But because it was Gary,
Hicks is leading the game 1 poll with 55%.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, that was a fucking unreal game. Unreal.
Yeah. So I mean, do you disagree with anything that I said about Gary Sanchez and his future with the Yankees?
No. As long as you're sitting there and also saying that this performance is, it's
I don't
unacceptable.
know how many more times I can say
right.
that.
Okay. And then that's fair. You're taking a rational approach to it, which is what you have to do, because at the end of the day, we all know this is a fucking business, guys. This is you're acting as if Gary Sanchez, even if he has a terrible year, you're acting as if Gary Sanchez is some fucking bum, and he's not. He's not. This decision should not be that hard.
He's been bad this year. There's no defending how awful he's been, but I can't get I just can't get down with people saying that he doesn't belong in the major leagues anymore. That's just absolute. That's pretty ridiculous. If you're gonna tell me that Kyle Higashioka can have a job in the major leagues and then Gary Sanchez can't, you just can't talk baseball anymore.
No. Eric Kratz. Eric Kratz is better than Sanchez, because we all know if Sanchez struck out, Kratz was the move, and Happ is better than Ottavino, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, you could just do that all day. You can do that all day.
Oh, and Kratz is also better than Boone. Don't forget that one.
Yes, I forgot about that one. Player manager. Yeah.
All right. So, so we can move off of Gary and then onto a guy that he catches occasionally.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to play that audio?
I do. I want to set it up a little though, because we got to talk about. Did you guys talk last week about what Happ said? Happ. What he happened to say?
What did he say?
With his innings, like what he insinuated.
I think we kind of got into it a little bit, that he was claiming that the reason that the New York media is smart and that they're kind of on the right track. No, because I think
he said that after the last start, and we had because he pitched after. We had recorded, but right. I think leading into that start, he had said something else. This is the second time that he's mentioned this.
Yeah. So this is Cashman. When was this press conference? Do you guys know?
I think Thursday.
Thursday
or Friday.
So this is Cashman's response. A reporter had asked him about to comment on Happ's comments that he made publicly to the media regarding his bonus that he can hit or whatnot with
player option.
His
for
player
next
option
year, if he hits certain innings or games started.
So here's a not so happy Brian Cashman.
I'm not going to comment on the contract situation that he's got, but I can tell you that, in a 60-game COVID season, it's a sprint. I know that, Aaron Boone and his staff, and obviously as an extension also us in the front office, are going to do everything in our power to put the best team on the field day in and day out that can win. And there's a lot of different things that have happened so far along the way, whether it's the more recent, the COVID situation that took the series down with the Mets, and then we were on an off day, and MLB was dictating no games against the Mets for that 3-game series. There was a possibility, are we going to play Monday or not? They said, you're not playing Monday, and it had nothing to do with the Yankees. So in that case, it pushed us all the way back to, you're going to fly out Monday and go to Atlanta. And that time frame had us reset the clock. So, for instance, you're going to start your best starters and give them the ball as much as you possibly can in this shortened COVID season. And unfortunately, because of how we evaluate our rotation, and I think objectively how anybody would look at, based on J-Happ's performance last year and this year so far in the regular season, he slots towards the back of that rotation. And that's all we're doing under the most recent circumstance where he obviously publicly complained about it. He did not have a good season last year. He had a poor season last year, and he's gotten out of the gate not very successful for us this year. And we're certainly hopeful he can step up and pitch well for us today and help us win a game. And but it's pure baseball.
Okay, so let's just sum that up real quick. J-Hap sucks, and he better keep his fucking mouth shut unless he wants me to come to his house and murder him while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
No, basically, you don't even have to go to the murder thread. It's just you suck and shut your mouth.
Yeah,
That's basically what he said.
You look at what he did last season, and you know what he's doing this year. And the bottom line is, J-Hap is a god awful pitcher, and you know we don't want him back next year. So yeah,
he slots in the back of the rotation.
Even if he keeps pitching well, we're gonna bench you, Jay, because we don't want you coming back next year. Right?
And again, here's the fickle nature of Yankee fans. There's not a fan out there that likes J-Hap.
No.
But the minute that Brian Cashman tells him that he sucks, and they get the wind that the Yankees are jerking around with his contract, now it's the Yankees that are the bad guys.
Of course. You feel.
Let me tell you something.
His feelings.
And because I argue with numerous people about this week, right? They're saying, of course it's the option. That's the reason why he's not pitching. No. Let me explain something to everybody out there. The reason J-Hap is not pitching is because he sucks. He left the door open for the Yankees to say, we're not going to pitch you because A, you suck, and B, we don't want you back. I will guarantee you, I'll bet you any amount of money that if he was good, if the last two performances that he put out is what he's been doing all year and brought that in from last season, the Yankees wouldn't give a fuck about his goddamn option. They wouldn't. They would just deal with it and figure it out in the offseason.
They wipe their ass with his option. Listen, does it make it easier for the Yankees because he sucks?
Yeah.
To play around with it? Sure. But make no mistake, if he was dominant, like you said, the Yankees would not be, he would be the guy they're trying to get to more.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not even a question. If you honestly, and the fact that Happ, I thought Happ was a better dude than this. I thought Happ was more of a stand-up guy than this. For him to not sit there and say, if I were performing, this wouldn't even be a question. But for him to insinuate that they're messing around with his innings, I have no respect for him anymore. I can't wait for him to be gone. You better, help us win a World Series, please. But then get the fuck out. Because I don't like that.
All right, here's Happ. His 2 starts ago was all the way back on August 16th. Against the Red Sox, 5 2/3, 1 run, right? Pretty good. I'll take that from J-Hap, right? And then we all know what he did on Saturday, 7 1/3, no earned runs. So, and then now he's put 2 back-to-back starts together, and guess what? He's on fucking turn. He's gonna pitch on his day he's gonna face the Mets again on Thursday.
I don't know if you know this answer, but if let's say the Yankees DFA him, right? They're just like, fuck you, get out, because his job was on the line. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he backed it up in his last 2 starts.
Do they automatically have to pick up that option? Like, to pay him on it, I mean?
I don't know how that works with options. I know they would be responsible for
the rest of the season.
The rest of this season.
Right.
And whatever was left. I don't know how it works with options.
I don't know. I'm sure there's legalities in it.
Like if that was a guaranteed year next year and they designated him, they'd be on the hook for the money. I just don't know how it works with options.
Like, you sucked so bad, we need to DFA you. So clearly we're not picking up your option. I don't think you should get that money, and I'd have to imagine that they'd be off the hook. So if they fucking hated him that much, maybe they could have just gotten rid of him. I don't know.
But it's like, in Cashman speak, he told Happ to shut up. And he needs to shut up. He has to.
Yeah.
Dude, you're fucking terrible. Your last 2 starts have been really good. Give me more of that, and I'll pitch you every 5 days, is basically what Cashman said.
And if we don't, then you can come out and be upset and say we're fucking with you. But until you perform like a major league pitcher, just shut your mouth, please.
I'm sorry. I have no room for I just don't have any time for J-Hap being like, oh, yeah, everybody knows why I'm not pitching every 5th day. Yeah, we do, because you're terrible.
Wait, this just goes to show how much respect I had for Happ, regardless of his performance on the field. I took the quote as he was saying, we all know why I've been shitty, and not in the context of, we all know why the Yankees are doing this to me. Poor me. I'm the victim. No, we're the victims. Watching you pitch.
Yeah, and I tweeted it yesterday. I said maybe they should have pissed him off sometime last year because ever since he's been mad, he's been pitching good.
Yeah. Yeah, give me Mad Happ. Mad Happer.
The Mad Happer.
The Mad Happer. That sounds like a shirt. That sounds like a good shirt idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is, but who's going to fucking wear J Happ on their chest?
No one ever.
J
Happ's kids won't even wear his fucking jersey.
Oh, man.
All right, so do you want to get to Twitter or do you want to do the recap first? Because we're running a little long here.
Well, I mean, look, we pretty much recapped now. I think we got to talk about Garcia a little bit. We got to
talk about Garcia. We got to talk about Tanaka. So we won't do a formal recap this week. We'll just do a couple quick hits on these things. So which game was it? Was game. So we'll just talk about the. I do want to talk about the doubleheader in Atlanta because a couple things did crop up there. Cole did not pitch well. Gave up a couple dingers there. John Sterling. I was driving home in the first inning, and I thought it was Acuna. I thought that was a pop up. The way Sterling called it.
And let me tell you something. It was whatever the opposite of a pop fly could be. Out of all the pop flies, this was it. Because it was annihilated.
What was it, 493?
It was annihilated.
Crazy.
All right, so game
Matata.
one here.
Acuna Matata. I like that.
I want to bring up Cole's stat line here from that game. The Yankees lost 5-1. I just can't get into these 7-inning games. I'm sorry.
Oh, they're awful.
It's like, but really, honestly, how much baseball have we watched in our lives? Really, you're just settling into the game by the third, fourth inning.
It's so bad.
You really just settled into the game.
Totally.
And at that point, with the seventh inning, the game's over. You're like in the stretch run of the game. I don't like that. I'm sorry. And I know Paul O'Neill says he likes it. I think he's being told to say it. To be honest.
I said they're all being told.
There's no way Paul O'Neill likes that shit.
No. There's no way. I will say
right, so,
you pulled it up. Okay. I was just gonna fill a little air.
Cole gave up five earned in 5 innings, and I believe he gave up 3 home runs. I don't have it in front of me, but I think he gave up 3 home runs in that game. But his stuff was pretty good. I mean, he struck out 9 over 5, but Garrett Cole has been victimized by the gopher ball this year. He was victimized by it last year. And, I mean, this was his first really bad start as a Yankee. And, again, fans are like, oh, we didn't get Houston Cole. We got Pittsburgh Cole. Cole's not an ace. He's overpaid. And it's just like, okay, okay, he can't have a bad start. I know we wanted to win a game after getting swept and not playing in 5 days, but he can't have a bad game. He can't. Like, that's not allowed.
Can I just read a tweet that I put out there after that game? Garrett Cole's first 7 starts over the last 2 seasons. 2019, he went 2-4, 43 1/3 innings pitched, 19 earned runs, 3.95 ERA. 2020, he's 4-1 with 41 innings pitched, 16 earned runs, and a 3.51 ERA. You are getting the Houston Garrett Cole. You just need to fucking let him breathe for a minute. Let him breathe.
He's actually better this year.
This is like a recurring theme. How can I accurately judge a guy on this COVID season? I can't right now. I just can't.
You shouldn't have to judge Garrett Cole.
I've gotten out of Garrett Cole so far, I don't think any differently of him. I thought when they signed him, I thought we were getting a bona fide, legit number one of the 2 best pitchers in baseball, and I still feel that way.
Absolutely.
And you should go to NYYSportsTalk.com and buy the fucking Garrett Cole Ace shirt that we put out.
Absolutely, you should.
On Tuesday. You should absolutely
be stupid
do
not
that.
to.
All right. So that's the point I wanted to make about Game 1. And there's 2 points I want to make about in Game 2 of that doubleheader. The Yankees lost 2-1. They took a 1-0 lead into the 6th. This is when Boone went to Chad Green. All right, we're going to take it first from the Aaron Judge perspective because we didn't bring this up and we absolutely have to. And then we'll take it from the Masahiro Tanaka perspective. Number 1 is that I love Aaron Judge. He's still my guy. Still want him on this team. Still do not think the Yankees should ever think about letting him go. Should still think the Yankees should put a long-term contract in front of him. But, dude, when you come out there and kind of challenge the club and say you don't belong on the IL, you needed maybe a day or two, and then you should have been back out there and you play 4 fucking innings before you get hurt again and wind up back on the IL, and then your GM says now you'll need twice as long to recover to make sure that this shit doesn't happen again. It's a really bad look. It's one of Aaron Judge's real first big missteps he's had with the Yankees. If you're just not talking about the injuries, this is really the first big strike against Judge in my book. Dude, you can't come out there and kind of rip the team for taking it cautiously with you, and then you play 4 innings and wind up back on the IL. It just can't happen.
I'll say this. I agree. You can't go out there and say those kind of things. Those are the things that you keep behind closed doors. You're not more of a hero to the real rational fans just for wanting to play and not going on the IL. But I get it. I don't think Aaron Judge is that out of tune with his body that he would have wanted to go back out there if he didn't truly feel 100%. And I chalk this up to just a guy going back out there and not being able to stay healthy. So yes, overall, terrible look. I appreciate that he wants to play, but dude, if you want to play, you got to play. You can't play for 4 innings and then go double the amount of time back on. The guy cannot stay healthy. I have huge concerns. Do I think the Yankees should not think about not giving him a long-term contract? No. I mean, it's fucking Aaron Judge. I'll take an injury-prone Aaron Judge over most other people in the entire league, offensively and defensively. Yeah. And that's where you got to really break this down. Frustrating. I'm frustrated. I don't have the same outlook on Aaron Judge as I once did because I don't have faith in him staying healthy. But when he is healthy, he's still the best guy for the Yankees.
Okay. So you made your point. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
I'm on board with what you guys are saying. Don't say what you said and then play 4 innings and go back on the IL for the same reason that you claimed you were totally fine and could play through. Bottom line.
That's the bottom line. It is.
The bottom line.
That's all right. So then, the Yankees take a 1-0 lead into the 6th here, and then Masahiro Tanaka was at 66 pitches, I believe it was, and I think Ryan and I said this last week. The remainder of this schedule really needs to be about getting Tanaka and Montgomery stretched out so they can be viable guys that give you 6-7 innings come the postseason. And now this is also before the Yankees went on a 7-game losing streak, and they slipped the fifth seed in the American League with the Blue Jays breathing down their necks. So things have gotten a little bit more tenuous in the last week, but I still think the Yankees really need to work on getting Tanaka and Montgomery stretched out where they can get into the 6th, 7th inning. This is one of the quote big strikes against Boone this week is that he took Tanaka out of the game after the 5th inning, which was curious. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but I always want to hear the rationale behind things before I go and start ripping people on social media, which, that's not usually the normal thing to do. It's usually you rip people, hear the rationale, and then don't give a fuck, and then just double down on your dumbness. And I know dumbness isn't a word; it makes me sound dumb, but anyway. Right. So he brings in Chad Green. Chad Green serves up a home run to Freddie Freeman. Braves take the lead. Yankees lose. Why didn't Tanaka come out for the 6th inning? Well, here's what you come to find out. Tanaka, from his own mouth or through his interpreter's mouth, whatever, he said this, that he told Aaron Boone after the 5th inning that he felt gassed, that if Boone wanted to take him out, he was okay with it. And you can say that that's just Tanaka, and because people have said this, that's just Tanaka, sticking up for his manager. Fine. You want to be that person? Go right ahead. But I heard Masahiro Tanaka say that he felt gassed. If Masahiro Tanaka really wanted to pitch, and and I don't know Masahiro Tanaka to be a liar. I don't. That's not something that's ever come up in his time here. So I'm gonna take his word for it. I mean, he really hasn't proven that I shouldn't. If he comes out and says that he told his manager that he was gassed, he let the door open for Aaron Boone to take him out of the game.
Let me tell you something. It's a great time to be a court lawyer, like during trial lawyer, because people nowadays, they don't, as long as you somewhat convince them, they don't care about testimony anymore. Like evidence or fact, even coming out of the person's mouth, does not count if it does not go with what they believe. Oh, that's just him doing that. Okay. Well, for me, it's not. So who's right and who's wrong? Do not, when a player comes out and says, I told him I felt gassed, that is your answer.
And pitchers don't do that shit either. If he's not asking to come out of that game. If he was fine and wasn't really gassed, he's coming back out. He's not gonna waste another inning to defend his manager.
No,
look at what he
would say. I trust him in his decision. Blah blah blah. But you wouldn't come out and say I said I was gassed.
I respect that. I respect that from Tanaka, because especially a pitcher's mentality, they usually don't come out and say something like that. It's kind of like the opposite of what Aaron Judge did with his injury. You like that communication from Tanaka, that he is open and honest. Even only at 66 pitches, 44 of those were for strikes. He still was respectable enough of his ball club to let him know that he wasn't ready to go back out.
That goes back to what we've been saying, is that they need to work this guy a little and push him. And maybe if the Yankees were scoring runs, that's a situation where Boone says, maybe can you give me one more? I got to get you worked up, man.
Yeah.
Right.
But a 1-0 lead, he's got arrested Chad Green out there. I mean, what do you want Boone to do?
Meanwhile, before this game, if you look through Twitter, everyone's going, where's Chad Green? Why aren't we using Chad Green? Why this? Why that? But then he uses Chad Green, and it's not enough. Why? Because of outcome.
Right.
Because of outcome.
Freddie Freeman, one of the best hitters in baseball. It's not like he gave up a home run to some punch and Judy hitter.
Right, like Gary Sanchez.
True. So, again, I can't hang it on Boone when his pitcher tells him that he's done. If Tanaka wanted in the game, you know what he says? I'm good, Skip. Put me out there. I got one more in me.
Yeah. You know Tanaka. You know what kind of guy he is. You know he's not coming out of a game if he has the option to stay in. Right. You know he's not going to go in front of the media and tell you that he was gassed if he wasn't. He's a fucking workhorse. Tanaka, you could say whatever you want about him being inconsistent, but that dude has always put his head down and done everything he could to help this team win. And we talk about Gary Sanchez, how he doesn't connect with the fans, and one of our theories is that he doesn't speak English and he's always talking through an interpreter. So a guy who isn't well liked, it's tough to fully connect with. I gotta say, I don't know if I believe that anymore, because Tanaka, he's one of my, as frustrating as he's been in the regular season, here and there, he is one of my favorite Yankees. He really is, and I don't want to see him in another uniform. I hope if he doesn't play next year, I hope you're right, Christian. I hope he does go back to Japan, because I don't want to see him on another team.
That's really not cool, bro. You told him to get out of the country.
I'm not saying to deport him or to kick him out of the country.
But if he's not in a Yankee uniform, you don't want to.
I don't want to see him in any other uniform in the major leagues. I truly feel that. He has become one of my favorite.
Here,
Yankees.
get the fuck
out. Go back to Japan.
No, I absolutely agree with that, man. I would hate to see Masahiro Tanaka wear another major league uniform next year, and it's not even I don't care how dominant James Paxton is if he comes back this year. It's really not a debate in my mind right now if the Yankees can only bring one of those guys back. I want Tanaka. I'm sorry.
I know we're running long, but I got to ask this: if Paxton doesn't come back, or if he does and he's a shell of himself, would you say Paxton was a complete waste?
I think it was worth the gamble.
And he gave you good games last year, right? And he gave you a good playoff game last year.
He never pitched to the potential. Was it a waste?
He really did, though, for a stretch last year. Those 11 games were unreal.
I mean, yeah, but he never became that near ace, definite number 2. He never did.
So not a complete waste, but you could have lived without him.
I mean, Sheffield is pitching pretty well this year, so. He had been on a good run. I had the game on for a little bit. He gave up 3 runs through 4 innings, I believe, last night, and then I turned the game off, so I don't know how he ended there. Maybe Ryan could bring up Chef's stats.
Well, there's one guy right now.
Because you know, if you're a Yankee fan, you have to always look at things in revisionist history.
Of course.
So if things change for you.
Right. I mean, not to give the perfect segue here, but we saw a guy tonight who might make that decision a lot easier for this team if he's going to pitch the way he did it. And is it Davy Garcia? What was your other?
I think it's Davy, but I've heard people say Devi.
Davy.
Also with Sheffield, his final line 4 2/3, 6 earned runs. So not the greatest performance, but he's coming off. He's coming off 3 straight 0 earned run or 1 earned run performances, 6 innings in each of those starts. So 3 quality outings from him in a row.
How many walks in those games?
2 in those 3 games combined.
There you go. I mean, when the guy throws strikes, we knew he was dominant.
And he had 4 in
and he had 4 tonight.
And our buddy Dan Federico, we'll give Dan a pop here. He retweeted a scouting report that he had on Davy Garcia before the game today, and it was basically that he had decent to good stuff to be a major league pitcher. He just couldn't throw strikes, which I think has been on the book on every single Yankee pitching prospect for at least the last 5 or 6 years, that they have good stuff. They can be major league pitchers. They just can't throw strikes. But Davey came out there and he pitched really well today. So, I mean, we'll just leave Chapman didn't pitch well. The Yankees got walked off in their own building on Friday. I mean, we could just leave Friday's doubleheader alone. We don't really need to talk about it. It sucked. It was awful. It was the absolute rock bottom of the season. That's what we can say about it. So we can move on to, we'll just say real quick Saturday. Thank you to Dylan for the win. Thank you, Dylan, for the win there. We'll move on because I think we have some things to unpack on Sunday before we wrap up the show here. Today was my dad's birthday, so I went over there
Happy birthday to your dad.
Papa. I said.
I love Papa.
So, you say that, but because he's busted my sister's balls, he wants her son to call him Poppy.
Poppy.
Say Poppy.
But he wants my daughter to call
Don
him Grandpa.
Sicario.
That's in Almost Heroes. Remember that?
But he wants my daughter to call him Grandpa, but he wants my sister's to call him Poppy. My father's fucked up.
He's fucked up. I love it.
But so I went over there to have, hang out and eat dinner or whatever. And we were watching a little bit of the game together. And, they fell down 7-2. So I checked out. I went outside. And then next thing I know, Hicks is up with a chance to fucking tie the game. And look, and here's the difference between me and most of Yankees Twitter. I have no qualms about ripping Aaron Hicks. I don't like him. Nothing personal. I just don't like him. Even though I was an advocate for the contract the Yankees gave him. I thought it was a good contract. I really thought his potential could have exceeded what they paid him.
Absolutely.
You got to be fair about it. But I don't like him. I think I don't like his outfield play. It's regressed this year. Mm-hmm. I think he swings for the fences way too much, especially when he's on the left-handed side of the plate, because he gets home run happy. I think he should be a lot better hitter than he is. And then what did he do today? He ties the game and hits an absolute fucking bullet. And I'm as happy as anybody, because I'm going to tell you what, bro, even in I tweeted it out today. Happ and Hicks are in a never-ending battle to be my least favorite Yankee. But every time that they do good and they help the Yankees win, I'm fucking happy because I want the Yankees to win. I showed you guys tweets of people still fucking burying Gary Sanchez after he hit the grand slam today. Yeah. The guy just won you a fucking big game. Shut your goddamn mouth.
If he can do this every game, why doesn't he? Because life doesn't fucking work like that. This is not a fairy tale. You are not watching a scripted life. You are watching real life. Okay? Please get it through your brain. Jesus
That's the difference
Christ.
between me and a lot of other people. I'll rip the guys that I don't like. I'll rip them. Fine. Yeah. But when they come through, I'm happy, bro. I want to be wrong about every single player.
I want to be too. I want to be too.
And I'll say it again. I want to win more than I want to be right about a player not performing.
Can we get to Davy Garcia real quick? Because I fucking love this guy right now.
All right. So our buddy Munch over out in Cleveland He's now doing morning drive instead of afternoon drive. So he reached out to me this week and he said, dude, he's like, I didn't think I'd be able to get you on this year because there's no Yankee Cleveland games, but I want you to get on because we got rumors going around here that Brian Cashman is calling the Indians about some of their pitchers. So I went on there Thursday morning. He cut me off.
Cut you short.
But we love you, Munch. I understand we were running up against it there.
Cut you short.
It's fine. I'll let him slide for this time.
We got fish in here.
Oh, wow, that was good.
But anyway, so Davy Garcia, right? Was this a showcase to send him somewhere else?
No. You don't touch this kid. And when I watch someone who's performing, making their debut, even the highest of highly touted players. Okay. I don't just look at stuff. I know these guys have good stuff.
Speaking of players, sorry to cut you off. A-Rod and J-Lo
Dropped
will
out.
not be buying the Mets.
Dropped out.
Somebody said that A-Rod pulled out, and the initial reaction was of J-Lo.
Probably not.
Inappropriate.
So
a lot of things we say in the show.
My number one thing with
we're being sponsored by a company that advertises shaving your balls. Okay,
balls.
Balls.
So when you watch a guy like Davy Garcia, you know what the scouting report is on this guy. You know he has good stuff. So I'm not just looking for good stuff because I know he has it. You look at this guy's mentality, right? You look at his demeanor on the mound. First of all, this might sound stupid to people, but being a professional athlete where everyone around you is 6 foot fucking a million and you're 5'9" in the center of the diamond on a mound, making your debut is not an easy thing. It's not something that you're just out there and you just have that cool, calm, confidence, demeanor about you. And this kid did the entire way through. It didn't matter what happened. It didn't matter even after that run scored, that unearned run scored. He was still excited to get out of that inning. He still knew he was the guy for the job. And this kid should not go anywhere. I don't care. There's no one right now more valuable than the Yankees watching to see what this kid could be in a couple years.
So instead of Davy Garcia basically is going to be the answer for the Yankees starting rotation for the rest of 2020, whether or
Absolutely.
not. So you're saying the answer should be that he pitches for them and not gets traded for somebody else to pitch for them.
Well, it's not even, to me, it's not even a question. The risk to reward of getting someone here compared to what this kid is capable of. I'm not sitting here saying he's the next greatest pitcher in the entire world. What I'm telling you is he showed you enough tonight to prove that he could be at the top of the league one day. And you got to take that risk on this kid.
But the fact that you're saying that means that his trade value has just skyrocketed.
I don't care. Yeah, of course. But
well,
I don't care.
Here's some Davy Garcia news is that he wasn't technically called up today. He was selected as the 29th man for the doubleheader.
Right.
So the Yankees returned him to the alternate site.
But that's expected.
It is, but is he going to get a call again in 5 days
Christian,
or 4 days or whatever?
Can I be honest with you? If they don't call him up, I will question everything that they're doing.
Well, do they have another doubleheader lined up next week? So he might be their doubleheader guy.
I don't know. I think this was the last one they had scheduled. Because it was only
an Orioles one.
Oh, yeah.
Sometime in
September 4th, they're playing a doubleheader. So that's 1, 2, 3,
That's
4.
Friday.
And wouldn't you know it?
Boom.
That's his day to pitch.
There you go.
That's his
Welcome
day to
back.
pitch.
So come on.
And then you make that decision.
No, then you could even send him back down for 5 days and then call him back up, or 4 days, whatever. And then you call him back up. This kid.
Yeah, so on Friday, the Yankees have a doubleheader, and that's Davy Garcia's game to pitch. So is Davy Garcia taking the mound in Baltimore?
Yeah, and you know what? He's got to do a lot at this point to lose that spot, in my opinion, because it's not like we have a healthy rotation right now.
He's earned another start.
He's earned more than just a start to me. He's your guy to lose with at this point.
And Chris, you know what I loved most about him today? He dictated the pace of that game.
100%. That's what I meant by his demeanor of being a short guy in the center of a diamond. It was his game. No one fucked with that.
When he when he was pitching and before nobody was on base, he was on the mound ready to go. Get the fuck in the box. I'm gonna get your ass out. And then when he had to slow the game down and make the batters wait because the game, a little high leverage with runners on, he did that too. He can it's very rare that you can see a guy go out there and completely control the way the game is played, and he did that today.
Absolutely, and that goes to my original point that goes far beyond what a guy's stuff is, because these guys are professional baseball players. We know they got good stuff.
Yeah.
It's about how you execute. And I tweeted this out after he came out of the game. Davy Garcia became the youngest pitcher in Major League Baseball history, not just Yankee history, Major League Baseball history, to record 6 strikeouts with 0 walks and 0 earned runs in his debut start, minimum of 5 innings pitched. The youngest pitcher in Major League history. That's not easy to do. And the biggest standout is the walks.
Yeah.
I mean, to have 6 strikeouts, 0 walks, and not give up an earned run, never been done at his age
too.
ever
Good
in
lineup.
a debut start.
And that wasn't a blowout game. That's a 1-run tie game for the most part. That's not easy to do.
And when your team's back's against the wall.
Yeah, yes.
Right? They just won a huge game, and winning this game tonight would really
swing.
make you feel like they're coming back around.
Yeah.
This kid he didn't care where he was, who he was playing. It was his game, and he controlled it the entire time.
Yep, definitely very impressed with Davy Garcia today. So let's get to Twitter real quick here. Your buddy Gibbs wants to know, is Brooks Kriske the next great Yankees reliever?
And he threw in another sentence in there.
He wants to know if am I thinking Paul Quantrill? I think you're thinking Scott Proctor.
Scott Proctor. I think he's trolling a little. So.
Oh, he definitely is.
Hey, he ate up some innings today, and he was spotting sometimes.
But all right, so I'm glad he brought up Brooks Kriske, because this is another thing. Why did Boone leave in Kriske so long? And then you get the quote punt game, right? Again, he's got no Ottavino, he's got no Chapman, right? What's Boone's big rule? I don't pitch guys 3 days in a row. That would have been 3 days in a row for Ottavino and Chapman. Those guys are out. We already know Canely and Britton are on the IL. Where do you want them to go right now? They're losing. This team is not, in the last week or whatever it's been, this team has not shown offensively that they could fucking string together enough hits to score 3 runs. They were down 6-4, or they were down 2 runs at the time. They would have needed 3 to win. They haven't been able to put 3 runs on the board, period. And you want them to score 3 more? I don't blame Boone for that. I'm sorry, I don't. I got to read the tea leaves. I got to see how my team is playing. And I got another game coming up.
Absolutely. 100%. You have to be smart there. You have a doubleheader. At that point, your offense is anemic. You don't just snap your finger and that changes, and now you should just be wasting arms away in a 7-2 game.
And who would have been Holder, Sessa,
right?
Isaac,
Yeah, there's so many better options. There's so many better options, guys. Seriously.
Don Sicario here.
Don Sicario.
This show is going to be over an hour and a half, and we want to thank everybody for sticking with us here. Lots of content though today, so it's not like we're just talking bullshit here. We are talking bullshit, but Don Sicario. He just wants a shout out, so there it is, buddy. Don Sicario, big shout out to a faithful listener from the beginning. Okay, he wants Brian to do the Francesa voice.
Okay, listen. Okay, I don't like a lot of fans. Okay, we all know that. But this Don Sicario, okay, okay, all right, he's real deal. Okay,
Franco wants to know if Chris is on the IL still. Obviously not. Chris is back.
Baby.
Back. And Chris Colon, we can just give a quick answer here, wants to know if you can only get one do-over in Yankee history, what would it be? He says Mo blowing the game in Game 7 of the 2001 World Series. I'm in agreement on that one.
I'm not. I'm going to go with Jacoby Ellsbury or Sonny Gray.
Ooh.
Can I do
Over
that?
winning a World Series?
Listen, man, that World Series was so unreal. That whole playoff was just so unreal.
You would rather stricken Jacoby Ellsbury from Yankee history than win another World Series.
Jacoby Ellsbury ruined so many years. Okay, that was one moment. Jacoby Ellsbury ruined 10 years. I mean, how many years? 8 years? 6 years?
All right, Ryan.
Okay. I go with the 2001 moment. Okay, maybe scrap the ALCS of 04. Okay, just the whole thing. Okay, erase it from a memory like it's Men in Black. Okay.
That's actually a bad one. 04 is bad.
Okay,
04 is worse for me than 01. At least we got a pennant in 01.
No, World One is always going to be worse for me. I'm sorry. We had the we had a lead in the ninth inning with Mariano Rivera on the mound.
That was my first heartbreak.
I think 01 is the first time we started hearing more men have walked on the moon than have scored against Mariano Rivera. Oh boy, Luis Gonzalez fucking ruins our lives.
And even though he didn't respond to this direct tweet, we got to give a shout out to our boy Ryan, who's still getting his balls busted by his wife Gloria day in and day out. Gloria, you can't do that. We tell you this all the time. 7-game losing streak, you can't do that. You got to just take a hike. Go for a walk or something.
Take a hike. Or you know what?
Chris,
I'm going to get on
and I are
Ryan for a
married,
little.
So my wife gets on my ass during a 7-game losing streak.
I'm going to get on Ryan for a little.
Oh, yeah?
Man up and get the fuck out. Man up, get to a hotel. If they're in a 2 or 3 game skid, you get to a hotel and you ride it out there. You don't let her. You got to be like Davy Garcia. You got to dictate.
Why? Your team is on a losing streak and you got to leave your house? No, she's got to go.
Wow.
She can't live. She's got to go.
I do like the videos though, so keep making them.
Please, they're so good.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get any, we're not sexist, chauvinist men. Okay.
I am, but I hide it. So I
Maybe we are,
hide it
huh?
well.
All right. So quick look ahead here. The Tampa Rays are coming in. The Yankees have to fucking win. I'm sorry.
Please. Please beat this fucking team.
Bottom line.
We got a 3-game set coming up here. The Yankees have lined up their pitching, so it's Cole, Tanaka, and Montgomery. There's no excuse. No excuse, man. They came in here 2 weeks ago, whatever it was now, and they dropped their balls on Yankee Stadium and said, "This is a."
Were they manscaped balls?
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm
turned my head
sweeping
when
the
I
floor.
saw it.
Yo, let's just talk real quick. How good is Tanaka against the Rays?
He's gonna shut the door.
Normally. Let's go. Last year, that was his best outing. I need that from Tanaka.
And you want to know what? Well, if he gets bombed, it's not going to change my opinion of him, but I need the ace. I need the $324 million man to walk on the fucking mound on Monday night and say, this is my fucking house, this is my team, and you're not beating me tonight. I need
100%
fucking Cole to do that on Monday night. That's
100%.
absolutely what I need to see him do.
100%. Drop the balls. Let's go. Show us what the fuck you're made of. 100%.
Absolutely. We love you, Garrett. Garrett Cole, baby. All the good shit. Show me why you're the ace. That's a challenge, my man.
Yep.
Show me why you're the ace.
Guess who's going to accept that challenge?
Garrett
fucking Cole. I'm telling you right now.
So Thursday, makeup game with the Mets at 4 o'clock. Then Friday, the doubleheader with the Orioles. Saturday night, Orioles. And then Sunday, 1:05 with the Orioles. I think we should try to work on doing something fun for that game since it's a holiday weekend.
I thought you were going to say since it's the Orioles, because that sounds boring.
Glaber going to be back for the Orioles or what?
Please.
I heard he might be another 3 weeks away.
What?
Yeah, that's what.
Whatever. Just keep these guys on the IL till they fucking moonwalk into the postseason.
We might be getting some bullpen help. I think Britton will be back during the Rays series, so that should help out the bullpen. So that's the week ahead. Big series, man. I can't understate that because right now the standings, the Yankees are
2 out of the loss.
2 games back in the loss column of the Rays here, and just 1 game up on the fucking Toronto Blue Jays, who they haven't. So the Yankees have gotten hot a little bit here, if you want to say that, and won their last 3, but the Jays have won 4 in a row, so they haven't been able to put any space back between them, and they haven't played them yet this year. So there's going to be a lot of games coming up in September with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay.
So we want to thank everybody for sticking with this extra large pod today. So thank you very much. Sometimes, we get complaints that our show is too long, but you can go F yourself if you think that, because we're only going long when we have content to give you, and we want to give you we want to give you the most complete show possible. So if you stuck with us through this, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Go to NYYSportsTalk.com. Get the Garrett Cole Ace shirt. You obviously won't be able to wear it for Start Monday, but if you order it, it will be here before the end of the season.
I also have to shout out to Willie V. He was messaging us. He went onto our website. He filled it out. He's looking for how to leave us a rating and review, but he doesn't have an iPhone. So he asked me, can you guys please give me a shout out? Love your podcast. That's your shout out, Willie. We love you too.
Thanks, Willie.
All right. Also, this week, we're going to start putting together the Sterling Silhouette series. We did the voting on Twitter. It was Derek Jeter. I'm going to try to do this from memory. Derek Jeter. I forget. Aaron Judge. Clint Frazier. And I forget. So I'll have to go back and look. But I know Jeter, Frazier, and
Very
Judge.
suspenseful release.
Yeah, I forget.
We forget, but you won't.
Because I don't want to go scrolling through when we're running long, but it's definitely Derek Jeter won the Dynasty years. It was Matsui that won the 2009
nice
World Champion team, and then
thriller.
It was who won the infielders? Do you remember? Who
Tyler
won the
Wade.
Tyler Wade.
He had a new one today, but let's not.
Yeah, Tyler Wade in the shade. We'll have to go back and look who won the current infielders, and then Frazier and Judge actually tied for the outfielders, but then Chris, Ryan, and I broke the tie and voted for Frazier, and then Judge won the second chance vote, so he got in anyway. We'll just have to go back. So we'll be working on those.
I think it was
this week.
Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, was it Gleyber?
I think so.
Okay, so we'll be working on that this week. So be on the lookout for that. Plus our Gio Urshela shirts coming too. So lots of new stuff coming. So thank you very much for listening to episode 191 of the NYY Sports Talk podcast. To be on in the loop, as they say, for all the new merch dropping, you have to follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.